Purdue's really good, and I think they have a chance to. I believe they're an NCAA tournament team, and I believe they'll have a chance to, with their shot blocking ability and their inside play, post play, they're a really difficult match for everyone. So I think they got a great run left in them, both in this regular season and in the postseason. So we moved very quickly to a team with a lot of similarities with more shot blockers, with Ohio State that seems to be coming after a transitional from losing some good seniors and a great freshman last year, all rookie of the year player, and a lottery pick, to the transition in the fall seems to smooth out, and they are really playing well right now. So same thing, we going down there, we've had some really tough losses down there. We did get a good win, I believe 2 times ago when we went down there. They really got us badly last year there where the game was over early. So we're got to be at our best and see what we can do. So we'll see as we go further. We're going to practice today. We did very little yesterday with anybody, including Karras, as we try to reassess where he is after that, all that action. Zach did nothing, Derek did almost nothing, but he walked through for 20 minutes because those high-minute guys are being taxed right now, and they're warriors. I can't say enough about Zach Irvin's performance. Forget about the baskets. If anybody would have watched him play 2 years ago, listen, you're going to do push-ups down there with half the game with Caleb Swanigan, and you're still going to be our best offensive player at the other end. That never would have happened. The push-ups would have become nothing at the other end. For him to play as hard as he did defensively and then still control us, run our offense basically with Derek having an off day, it's a big step for him.
How did Karras feel physically after the game?
Everybody was sore yesterday,
yep,
including him. I mean, everybody. The basketball is a very difficult game, so everybody was sore. Mark couldn't go, as much as he wanted to from the banging, but overall he was sore all over.
Okay.
He was sore all over.
How fast can 10 minutes reasonably turn into 15 or 20 or 30 for Karras?
That'll really be based on him. I mean, today he's going to try to go out there and see what he can do, but this is going to be a process now. They're going to be we try to get him more and more into it. If we see any type of thing that could risk re-injury, we don't want him in there.
Just watching, it seems like there's more physical play again in the Big Ten. Are you starting to see a little bit more of that down the stretch than you did earlier?
Yeah, I think that was not. I know we were trying to go into this year, and everybody's trying to go to freedom of movement and all these type of things was happening, and there's a lot of hand things that are being called and big body bumps that are still not being called. So I think we're trying to figure out how we can make this game smoother, and it's not easy. It's not easy for the officials and for the coaches to coach it, but we're going to keep trying to find a way to do that.
A little off that topic, do you track charges taken, and have you seen those fall off a little some?
Yeah, I don't track them as a number. We know who's taking them for our team. I think that has been a good rule, actually. It's certainly cleaner than it was 2 years ago. That was awful. And so there was no way of stopping a driving guy because it was virtually you had to be there, the day before in order to get a charge. And so now I think that's been pretty clean, and the arc's been pretty good too.
In terms of reworking Karras, kind of reshaping the rotation around him. I would think the last game was more for him to kind of shake off some cobwebs as opposed to actually making progress in that.
As I told you guys the other day, we were just like, okay, can he play or not play? We were trying to do what's best for him. So we have these sets of plays run for different people depending on how they're playing us. It's like it's to be this huge puzzle. Does this team play the ball screen this way? Then that's a set of plays for one guy. If he plays it this way, it's another one. So now you're going into a game you don't know whether he can play or not. It's frankly not smooth right now because we're just trying to get him back. So we went in the game and he was just going to be a role player the whole time. Exactly what you say. Just get in there, give us some depth, right? Which he gave, those extra minutes he gave rest where maybe Zach had to be out there. He was out there a lot of minutes anyhow. But there's just, he's sort of just getting his wits about him right now about playing again.
and I guess the conversations we've had so many times about trying to figure out how to get, Derek to have his best game, and Zach to have his best game at the same time. Now with Harrison
and
there,
getting Duncan open. That's the
Right.
three things we got to sort of put together. And we're trying. We got to do a better job of that. And I'll just say Duncan's got to cut harder, as hard as he can. That's not easy. That is hard to be. It's like running a sprint, And he's got to sprint more in order to get open. You've got to watch the Kyle Korvers, who are not a whole lot about athletically, but they run as fast as they can. He's sort of learning that now. But again, I can't get open. Well, and I gotta find more angles to get them open too. But get them all three together would be big. We got good points out of the big man as well, and then Mohammed. When Mohammed makes shots, right, we're a much better team.
So are you kind of changing or starting over?
It is evolving as we speak. I mean, seriously. And then you play a different team. I'm just telling you, this is like sometimes you think like it's football, and you're playing a wishbone one day, right? And then you're playing against a spread the other day, but you got to do it in one practice, and you got to do it, and you don't know whether this guy can play that game or not. It is not a thing that I enjoy, but it is part of the job.
Seems like with Karras, you gave him the ball, and he was willing to take the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that's just innate to him, or is it something in practice that he's been doing?
You know what we've been doing, Mark? It's a good question. We've been really trying to just play without as many set calls, particularly in the first half, of just running offense and playing off each other. And that's essentially what we were doing when he was in there. When he got the ball, to make the next play. Like when we had 3 seconds to go, we ran a little out of bounds play. We misread something, and all of a sudden there he was, like with a beautiful runner, ready to put it in, like only he can do. Nobody on that team could have got that shot in 3 seconds that he got. And all of a sudden there he was right at the rim. He missed it, but that's what we got to rely on him for right now until we get where we can practice. We know he can practice for 120 minutes. He can go hard all 120 his timing down.
We know how talented he is, you do obviously, but how much, as an opposing coach, does it change the preparation with him just knowing he's going to be able to play?
I think they're probably guessing too, because I've never, like I said, I can't remember having a prime player out. I've had very few out for the whole season, like we've had Spike and Mitch a couple of years ago, but having them out for most of the season, then back at the end. Daryl Barley's the only guy, and it's just it's difficult for me. So I can imagine for the other coach, they're guessing as well, saying, okay, is he in or is he out? This is what they run, because we have reshaped now. And when Derek went down, we had to reshape some things. When Spike went down, we had to reshape some things, and then when Derek went down, we had to reshape, and then Karras go down, we had to reshape. It's just. It's not a mess, but it's not a thing of beauty right now.
Or his skill set changes the way people look at you guys, though, because he has different. So many things.
I can't be sure of that. I know it changed the way I look at us because we have more options. The big thing with Karras is his ability to pass. Look at his numbers coming in, and his minutes and his number of assists. And even though he had the ball out, he's not the point guard, and that's really changes things. Cutters are. When he came in and played with our All-Stars, which is the day off and plays with our guys, he was like all of a sudden boom, 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 and I realized how much we missed him, not just his scoring, but the way he sees the floor and his rebounding,
You think Zach is 100%? Is he the athlete that he was at the end of last year yet?
No, I think it's going to, as I said earlier,
Yep.
because of the surgery and being off all summer. Yeah, I just said, we were just complimenting him on how he's grown, and then next year, right, with a full summer of, he may have to do different type of weightlifting, right, and different types of leg building and glute building. He's going to be he could be really a special player next year, the way he's playing. Just because his grit right now is just something that has evolved over time.
Were there similarities between his and Mitch's back injuries, and do you have to be careful in the way that you?
Specifics on
Right.
injuries, yeah.
Okay.
What clicks in a guy like that? You said it evolves, but is there a point at which a big high school scorer gets the fact that defense is such a huge part of it at this level?
Yeah, they're all different on it. I think probably if they aren't as gifted as he was, he probably would have already known a lot of that. But you sort of go in and you're watching that team he walked into as a freshman, and they did most of the work, and we picked the weakest defender for him to guard sometimes. and now he's guarding like anybody, the point guard, the four. I said if they set a 5-4 screen, you got to guard Hammonds. You got to find a way to do it. But you have to switch off and guard the point guard. So, yeah, there's certainly a time that it clicks with almost if anybody really ever is going to get on the floor, they're going to get it. But they're never going to get on the floor if they don't get it, unless they're on a really losing program. They're never going to get on the floor. So I think they figure it's the best way to minutes is learn how to guard people and, get rebounds, dive on the floor, do all those things.
You said after Purdue that you just let the offense run when Karras was on the floor.
Yep.
Are you at the point where you can draw up actions for him where you're sure?
Well, we did, like I said, we just corrected the actions yesterday, and everybody just jogged around on it yesterday. No, I don't think we're at that point now. He's got to be really in there. I think we'll just sort of, he knows he can play a couple different positions for us. He knows our most basic stuff, and that's all we would run when he would be in there.
John, what are the max minutes that you're comfortable playing Mark right now?
Mark? I have to be careful of that because he's had a propensity to really get worn down in the season. Either he got sick last year and he's been very healthy this year. But I think if we were 20-20, whether that other 20 comes out of multiple guys, it's probably best for him. But we'd have to go 25 or 30. He just because he, as you say, when you're doing push-ups and sprinting, right? That's much harder to do. I get on my treadmill and I do like 20 push-ups or something like that, and I get jump on the treadmill and my heart's like pounding. It's hard, and he's wrestling in the post, everything. Especially with the big men in this league are as good as I've ever seen it, and so it's difficult. So I think 20 to 25.
And for, I guess, it's being able to draw up stuff for him on drops and Duncan being able to get some more open looks, just with Karras' ability to do so much with his hands. For those two specifically, how much can his?
I would love from first of all to one of our bigs be able to have an inside-outside game too, as be able to pick and pop and shoot some threes and we can shoot them in practice. We're learning to shoot them in games. Like if Mark's gone in the other day, that would have been a huge thing for his psyche as well. Because they don't get a lot, and there's some pressure on, and but that's a goal, to be able to really, a lot of these shot blockers aren't going to be able to play out there, and they impact the game, so that's a difficult thing. So I think he has the ability, I know he has the ability to do that. We haven't been able to just do it yet in practice games enough. So, but he's key, and then getting Duncan to diversify his game. Like we've seen Duncan, he shot a floater the other day. He got an offensive rebound for a basket. Those are new ways to score that he never would have done walking in the door.
Obviously, with Spike being out, taking him out of the picture, but now that Karras is back and you're seeing what Mark is doing, Duncan's had his moments and his experience, is it starting to look like what you maybe envisioned back in November or whatever?
Yeah, I will when I see Karras out there for a 120-minute practice. That's when I know that and he's just. Pain is still going to be his time. If he's feeling any soreness anywhere in his body right now, we'll pull him out and wait. This is important that he takes his time in getting back to full strength.
Thoughts on the 30-second clock and how that's affected your team specifically?
Yeah, I just talked with that about my assistants. How we always have the off guard take the ball out of bounds and come up, because if they're pressing you or something, you got to guard in the backcourt. And I'm saying I think we got to find a way to do more like some other teams do. The 4 or 5 shoots it out and we're up the floor. Now that wears your team out. And they're not penalized for they let people score and they're going down to score. They forget how to play defense. But I have to adapt. I have to find another 4 or 5 seconds somewhere where getting our guys into action quicker. And we've been emphasizing that, but I think we got to do it even more.
Do you not like it then?
For us this year, with a lack of depth and because of the injury, I haven't been as comfortable with it. I don't have any other choice.
Sure.
I got to be better at it, and I got to get my team to be better at it. The scoring's up. Is the field goal percentage up? I don't know. Are we going to the foul line more? That may be it too, which doesn't mean it's a more exciting game because guys are shooting more foul shots. But if the people in charge believe it's better for the game, then I got to agree with them because they study it more than I do.
John, how would you assess your NCAA tournament resume right now?
I've never even judge that one, Tony. I just.
When you talk about signature wins,
Yeah.
though, I mean, so you've talked about it in general.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Well, you have to have them, but I don't know where other people are. It depends a lot on other people, but we have to, I know that, you know, you usually have to have 4 or 5, you know, really good wins. You have to be able to win on the road, right? You have to play a strong strength of schedule. And, you know, it'd be probably, you know, somewhere in the upper part of your conference. And we got work to do to establish all those things.
And as far as the defense the other day, there's been games this year where the defense hasn't looked anywhere like it looked against Purdue.
Yeah.
How do you get the message across to your team that that's how you win games?
Well, yeah, well, so it's important we learn that, and we can't give in. But I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm just saying it depends on the other team's style. We're good against some styles more than others. And playing Purdue the second time taught they scored like 60 points in the second half last time we played them at their place. We adjusted and we knew their style. The speed and the great screening that Michigan State and Indiana played against us, we were not very good defensively. So they don't play at that same speed. So sometimes your defense can be good because things you emphasize every day are going to be good, and sometimes you're just going to be bad at it because of a style of play that you can't get your team to play as quickly after just a one-day rest. They just don't adjust. The other thing that happens is the big part is being able to adjust to I missed a shot and now I got to guard somebody, or I got knocked down and now I got to guard somebody. That transition into I'm not on defense. I'm not on offense anymore. I'm on defense.
John, I got one.